Welcome back to another mini episode of the Authentic Man podcast. Today, I'm going to be talking about the topic of creating the spark. Maybe you're listening to this on Instagram, or maybe you're watching it on Instagram, or you're listening to the podcast. So I try to record them both at the same time. It just makes life so much easier for everybody. Well, I'm talking about creating the spark, because this is something that's come up inside coaching, and even people have sent me emails to help them with what's going on in their dating lives. Is this idea of creating the spark? It seems elusive and mysterious, and it isn't that elusive and mysterious, but it can feel that way when we're not sure how to really, because part of creating a spark is just connecting with someone else. That's a free tip right there. Really, creating the spark is actually connecting with the person in front of you. That's really the first bridge you want to create. If there's disconnection, it's very hard to create that spark. It's very difficult to feel any electricity between two people. And I think one of the other things is to say is that you can't create the spark with everybody. To be honest, this whole spark thing, in my opinion, I think it's a bit of bollocks, to be honest. If we, sometimes that sort of spark is almost it's unhealthy chemistry, it's like, oh my God, I feel so excited. I feel a bit anxious. I feel a bit worried. And it's like, yeah, maybe that person just felt a bit aloof, and, that makes you feel wanted, if you have what we call unhealthy, a more disorganized, or, not so healthy attachment style with men or women. So we're going to talk about the spark because that's what everyone calls it. So the first thing I'm going to talk about here is, and this is a really brief podcast, so I'm really just going to get into the nuts and bolts, is having a positive vision. Going to your date with the vision in your mind of a positive outcome, of what you would really love it to be. Because I see this with a lot of people. We go to dates, with the guys I work with, is they go into dates and they're spending the first half an hour before they get to the date, worrying about all the things that could go wrong, right? Trying to mitigate them in their minds, like, okay, I don't want to be late, and I don't want to say anything stupid, and I hope she doesn't think I look stupid, or blah, blah, blah. And this gets you there in this state of anxiety, worry, and fear. And it means you're not relaxed, right? It means you're feeling anxious, you're feeling stressed in the moment you actually turn up at the date, right? Which is exactly the thing you don't want when you got to meet somebody new. You want to be feeling calm, feeling relaxed, feeling good in yourself and in your body, right? So to do that, you can just do a really short kind of visualization of how you'd really love the evening to turn out. Like, really simple. Spend 30 seconds before you show up, thinking about how you would like it to go, how it could go really, really well. You could spend half an hour doing this, but really spend the time visualizing it going really, really well. Train your mind into visualizing positive outcomes for yourself, because the chances are, if you're struggling to create, connection and spark on a date, then you're often worrying, and then you're probably doing this in other areas of your life, maybe in your work, maybe with friends, maybe with family. Start to visualize, start to think out really beautiful, positive outcomes for the endeavors that you do. And I'm not saying it's going to make everything go beautifully, but it will actually bring you to calmness, and you will attract into your life more of these things. So the second one is to relax. Be relaxed. Don't take yourself too seriously. Don't be defensive. Don't go into a date as if it's some sort of warfare, or someone's trying to, find all the terrible things about you and point them out to you. It's not. You're going there to investigate another human. Not investigate, sorry. You're going to investigate if this is something you want to carry on. It's someone that you like, someone that you know. Because the chances are, if it's a first date, especially, you don't really know this person. You may have talked on some messages back and forth. You might have even had a video chat, but you don't know this person yet. So you're finding out. So you need to be curious. Who is this person? What are they like? What do they enjoy? What are they passionate about? And on the flip side is expressing yourself as well. Expressing your likes, your dislikes, your passions. These are things that ignite some chemistry between people, because we get to feel the other person in front of us. Like, oh, this is someone I might want to talk to some more. Or, oh, I don't want to talk to this person some more, but they have some, or this person has some strange points of view. Let me, dig into this, and maybe I can learn something. Maybe there's something interesting here that I haven't thought about. They've lived a different life. I could be curious, instead of going in there and being like, oh, that person thinks like that, they're bad, they're wrong, I don't want to have any more conversation with them. Because we do that. And I know if we're talking about very non-negotiable things to you, But sometimes people can be really like that, very judgmental very quickly over very small, minor, unimportant things. So that's something, I really go on a lot about, being curious, being really curious about the person. And another point here, especially for men, because, ultimately when we're dating in heterosexual situations, men are, seen as to be the masculine leaders in the situation. So this part here is about leading the date. That might be leading the organization of the date. That might be even leading the sort of conversation, like having that the conversation is interesting. I always used to feel it was my responsibility in a date to lead the conversation to more and more enjoyable places, insightful places, interesting places, enlightening places. That was always how I used to go into a date. And it's not to say I would control the date or I would control the conversation or I would be like, oh, it has to go this way. I was very light about it, but I'd be like, I want to know more about this person. I want to find out what's interesting about them, what kind of jumps out, what's fun about them. And I would just have that in my mind and I would lead the conversation, or if I was in a bar, for instance, and this happened to me a few times, you go to a bar, you have a drink or two and you're like, this isn't the right bar to be in. I might say, hey, should we leave this place and go to another place because it's not that comfortable here or it's too loud or whatever. It's like, do that, drive things forward, lead, because ultimately in this day and age, I still feel for the predominantly, there is an expectation, there is a desire as well on men to lead in their lives. And I guess this next one kind of leads into this, and this is a bigger piece around having purpose in your life. Like creating a spark is nothing more beautiful than speaking to someone who is deeply passionate about what they do with themselves or where they're going in life. And it doesn't need to mean that you have found, your everlasting purpose, because, currently my purpose is really guiding men to deeper maturity, deeper intimacy with themselves in their relationships and their dating lives and out of pain and trauma even. But maybe in a few years' time, my purpose will change, or maybe your purpose currently is to really find out what your purpose is. That is purpose. Like, go full in, talk about it, discuss it, find out from someone else what their purpose is. This having purpose in life is really electrifying when you speak to someone who has a desire and purpose where they're going, even if their purpose is to rid the world of plastic, whatever it may be, have your own, listen to other people's. This next point it kind of goes on over the first couple is getting out of your head. Get out of your head. Don't just be focused on your thoughts, your judgments, your ruminations when you're sitting on a date. And I see this and I hear this a lot from clients and people I meet, is that they're on dates and they're just so fixated on like, what's the other person thinking of me? Oh, I shouldn't say that. I should say this. And then they're not actually listening to the conversation. They're not listening to the person they're with. So a conversation's unfolding and they're just not really listening, not really present. And when we're not present, we don't really give that space for the spark, for the electric to be created, for the connection to become deeper, because we're stuck in our heads and we're not stuck in the moment. So like, get out of your head, get into the present moment. This is a really beautiful, quick kind of exercise you can do is, if you find yourself in your mind, just bring your attention to the soles of your feet on the floor. Put your feet flat on the floor. Get into the sensation of that for a few seconds. Then tune into your ears. What do you hear? Listen. A sight. Look at the person. Boom. You're present. As soon as you do those things, you're in your senses. You're in the present moment. That really helps. It's like very, very important to do that in dates. One of the things as well is that I love to do is be playful. Be playful with the person you're with. Don't be worried about, I need to be serious, I need to be seen as serious, because no one wants anyone who's serious all the time. It's so boring when people are serious all the time. Be playful, be fun, know that you are not we're all playful beings. We're all children at once, and we still would love to be children again and again. So be playful, be enjoyable, challenge people, with opinions. It's like, people have opinions, I don't want to use the word interrogate, but really try and get into why someone thinks a certain way. Oh, why is that? Not in a way that you're telling them they're wrong, but actually giving them the space to answer it however the truth is for them. But you want to get to know them. You're interested to understand why they think that way. What happened that you have that thoughts and opinions about the world? Because this is also, might feel slightly challenging, right? But it also is how we get to know people deeper and deeper. Like getting to know people is taking the time to do that. Another thing, and probably the last one I'll talk about, is talk about feelings, not just facts. This is something that a lot of guys trip up on, is they spend a lot of time just saying, I did this and I did this and I did this and I did that. Talk more about, oh, I did this thing and I really felt like this. It was kind of like this experience, paint a picture with your words, paint a picture with your hands, even when you're moving, like as you see me, if you're watching the video, it's like I'm always moving my hands when I talk, and my head and my eyes and, all those things, because these things allow us to create a picture that people can connect with and understand, right? And we all like a bit more than just words. There's nothing worse than you go on a date and someone just sits there and the only thing that really moves is their mouth, and even their tone doesn't really adjust. So really start to express yourself more vividly, more wildly. So yeah, that's it. That's the kind of intro into, creating the spark. I've got a workshop that I run that's very much about this. That'll be coming up soon. I also have a workshop that's coming up on I will say the date in a very quick second, on the 9th, which is around being authentically attractive, which I'll talk a lot about these sorts of things, about how to express oneself authentically, how to connect with one's own sexual energy, the importance of, the masculine and feminine energy when dating. All these things are in that workshop on the 9th. I'll put the link to that in the show notes. But yeah, until next week. Ciao, ciao.